Hello, I'm Glenn W. Hunter, and with me is Miss Shor Denny of Community Now. This is the three C's of social emotional learning: community, collaboration, communication. And today we are going to talk about the mask. The mask, something that is such a big part of our lifestyles now. Is this really something we should be looking into right at this moment?
It's like the end, maybe, or maybe it's something that will continue forever. Or I think the mask has turned into more than just a facial covering.
No doubt, no doubt. The mask, obviously it symbolizes protection from COVID. And that's been a big part of our experience for the last year and a half almost now.
Hmm.
But, it also has adopted many other roles. People who believe that the pandemic's a hoax, for example, they see the mask as a sign of oppression. And then there are other opinions, there are other interpretations. But sure, as a community leader and someone who's active in school environments, what do you think of all these different interpretations of the mask?
I think that they're all different ways of coping, right? That we are coping with something that's forced on us. Some have embraced it, some believe that it should be, right? Some are triple masking. Some are, they've got masks and they've got guards and they've got 6 inch feet and they've got, some still aren't leaving the house. Some are wearing masks that identify different social injustices or social things going on in our world. Some are doing political advertisements with their masks, right? Some are wearing their colors. They can wear their colors out in the street now. And as far as bandanas across the face. So I think that it's a way that we have found to cope. Some have made a very intricate part of their wardrobe that they match that mask to those pants, or to the purse. The person's shoes and mask match. Or some people just buy the basic disposables and wear the generic blue, or and just be thankful I put on a mask. So there are different ways that we are coping with this tool that we have for health.
It's funny as we talk about it because it is a tool for health, but that whole fashion part, I think personally that was an unforeseen circumstance or unforeseen set of events that it became such a fashion statement. It became part of who you wanted to project. As someone who's a lot more fashionable than I am, sure. Did you see that coming, that it would become an accessory?
Oh yeah, it was already an accessory in many subcultures, I'll put it that way. So it's already, masks were already out. They were already done up in really great ways. But it wasn't everyone that was wearing them. And so now, with it being forced on such a large audience, it just had to happen, right? If you are a person that matches your shoes with your purse, then you are a person that's probably going to match your mask, right? If you are worried about the colors, my colors need to stay in line. You're probably going to be one of them that's going to match that mask. If you don't care about any of that, that's probably one of the people that is not, and they might be able to have one mask. I lose my mask. I lose my mask all over. I buy masks all the time. I'm buying masks every week. I lose my mask. So I tend not to put as much into my mask, but I still try to buy masks that are basic colors to go along with what I'm wearing. So I don't, it's not blaring on my face like, it's a mask, it's a mask.
It's funny you mentioned that because it does represent a piece of who we are. So I have masks with sayings. I have some different colors, some out of the ordinary designs. And then I keep like the basic blue, the basic black ones that I always have in my car in case I get caught somewhere without a mask, just sort of that emergency stash.
Right.
But it is something that we're conscious of, and it allows us, well, not just to be ready for whatever may happen out in the in the world, but it allows us to project a sense of responsibility that these are the rules, these are the guidelines that we're choosing to live by, and let's be responsible about that. And if you can add a little style and flair, that helps. I don't know how much style I have, but I've seen you in some pretty cool ones, so we know how that works. But you know, the thing I appreciate probably the most about the whole idea of masking is the fact that it is universal. It doesn't just hit one demographic or one age group. It is something we've all had to embrace, and consequently, it communicates something about each and every one of us as we're wearing it. So one example is, you think about students, and then you think about teachers, and things that happen in a school building, for example. But there's friction there, and then you have friction that actually transcends out beyond those boundaries that we talk about quite a bit into the overall health of a community. So as this overall health is improving, we still seem to have the issue of vaccine shaming, right? The mask protects us, but now we all should have our vaccine, and it's something that's very media driven. Um, you know, Now we see the potential to have certain personal privileges restricted by being vaccinated or not being vaccinated. But this is a major shift for us, in our society. In other words, what does that shift about, being vaccinated or not and privileges being associated with that? What does that actually look like in real life?
Oh, wow. It can look like a lot of things. Currently, right now, what we're seeing is that the CDC is stating that those who have been vaccinated, with all their requirements, double vaccination, 14 days, whatever, that they don't have to wear masks anymore, really. They can be in and out. And, so they've got the privilege of not masking. Where those who have not gotten the shots, or haven't gotten the second shot, still have to mask. So we can see this playing out where the airlines decided that they might, or were deciding if they should mandate, the vaccine card to get an airline ticket. You can't get on a plane if you don't have your vaccine. And this would be privilege, right? The privilege to travel. There are different places we've known right now that if you go from one state to another, there are mandatory quarantines in effect. So those who have the shots would not be quarantined. That's another privilege that they would get for being vaccinated. So we could see this evolving into almost another caste system, right? If you're vaccinated, you are allowed to work. If you're not vaccinated, you can't. We can see this playing out in those types of ways and being very discriminatory, not racially per se, but it would end up racial if minority groups do not get the vaccine. Then it would, reflect on minority groups more. As we say, that African Americans aren't getting the shot as much as some other demographics, that group of African Americans would be held back in some things in society for not getting the shot.
It's funny because when you start talking about holding them back, there's so many implications to that. The ability to attend school where you'd be held back, right? The ability to work in certain environments where there's a heightened sensitivity. Then,
Hmm.
especially in a very dynamic economy like the Inland Empire, where you have a number of small businesses that are very thriving. Now you have a lot of diversity in rules and interpretations based off of the ownership of some of these small businesses.
Yeah. Because you can walk into one restaurant right now and they don't mind if you don't have on a mask, and then you walk into another one and they do want you to have a mask. So it's not consistent.
Right. And I believe that's something we're going to have to learn to navigate. I think we have a unique perspective again here in the Inland Empire where there is such diversity from a cultural standpoint and economic standpoint, um, that you have a chance to experience what works well and what doesn't work as well from a business perspective. So we look at it there, but what about just in society? I mean, do you think that, going back to vaccine shaming itself, that as we're interacting just with our neighbors day to day, that there's going to be heightened friction over the mask issue for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, there's going to be friction over the masks. Until we come to herd immunity, right? Isn't that what everyone says? Herd immunity. So until I guess we get the numbers where the CDC believes that those who are not taking the shot, that I guess that they're protected because we who have the shot should be protected.
Mhm.
That this mask thing might kind of, I'm not going to say it's going to go away. I think it's going to take a long time. Those who never like the mask and don't want the mask are going to throw them away quickly. But I think there will be groups of people that continue, if not always, periodically to wear the masks. So I
Mhm.
think the masks are here to stay.
I have to agree with you on that. This has been a traumatic experience for a lot of locals and a lot of Americans. And when you consider internationally the challenges they're having in India, I mean, it's literally been a game changer for the human race. The beauty is that there seems to be progress being made on many, many fronts as we resume back to at least being functional, if not back to where we were from a normal standpoint. But as we make these transitions and as we try and move forward, and more importantly, as we culturally coalesce and then try and cope in that environment, we get right back to what community now is all about. And that's developing coping skills, particularly in our youth, but definitely watching that expand throughout the culture and society we live in. And with that responsibility, sure, how do people get a hold of you in community now?
You can reach out to us at plugin@communitynow.info. You can call us at 951-413-6587. And you can subscribe, and share this message right here to you and comment and let us know some topics you want to hear about or what you think about the topic that we just discussed.
Outstanding. Once again, I'm Glenn W. Hunter. Also, our subject matter expert, Ms. Shor Denny of Community Now. And as we continue to make progress beyond the pandemic and into a healthier and more vibrant community and all expectation, a better society, each and every day, we want to encourage all of you to please be safe. Thank you.